So it is, little ones, we understand that the energies are confusing, to say the least, because of the intensity of where each person is in their own emotional body. So your emotional body is receiving, through those filters, information at this point in time. So the clarity of the pure intelligence is not there. All right, so the intellect is that part of oneself that interacts with the primary intelligence. And so the practice is, don't think for a little while. Practice no thinking. It's really useful. And energetically knowing that you have come onto the planet for these particular, it's like running through the exercises before the final show at this point in time. So run through the exercises with as much intensity as you possibly can. But that will ask you to decrease your emotionality. All right. So emotions run very high at this point because people are fearful of what is going to be the outcome. It can't be helped in the human realm that fear enters in when it looks as though longevity is being influenced, or when it seems as though humanity itself is not using their energies in a way which is most positive or is way most productive. All right, so using your own energy to be if you had surgery and you're coming out of surgery, you would be disoriented if you had anesthesia, but you would have a sense of something that has altered inside of you. No matter what you were thinking, your body would have a sense that something had been altered. Something is being altered on the body. This is definitely a time for clarification, clearing of limitations in the mental body and in the physical body, emotional body as well. But the emotional body has the most integrated aspect of itself so that you can't really tell it's there a lot of the time. So the perception happens. You want to be able to know that when it is that you are having an emotional interaction, all right? So it's not about being reactionary. We're not talking about that. We're talking about your breath, how it is that when one hears something, or even a certain person's voice, or a certain piece of music, or a certain intelligence, information that is coming, there's an automatic alteration that happens that is undetectable for the most part. But you want to be able to detect this now. Detect the way you're perceiving your world, right? So it sounds really simple when we say it like that, but it's not so simple if, in fact, your emotionality has been engaged. So how to disengage with your emotionality. This could be very interesting, yes? So the activity of self with the breath, every time you begin to take on a breathing exercise that you have learned, you realize that it isn't perfect the way you left it off the last time in the practice. You have to regroup. You have to come back into a sense of connectedness with self and a sense of integration or harmony with what is happening on all levels. And that harmony, if you use your third eye, all right, because emotionality, heart-centered people and very much enthusiastic people, they have a way in which they automatically go to their heart, and the heart starts pumping, and it gives more energy to the body to express what is happening and to be more integrated into the situation. So you want to be able to bring yourself up and into the third eye and interact with your third eye when you're looking at people, not your whole body. All right, you take care of this whole body and say, you're on break now. You could go into, go relax. I am going to perceive everything. So you're pretending, and that's not a good word. We don't like it so much, but you'll have to use it for a little while. That you're pretending that all you are is this part of yourself here. You have ears and you have eyes. All right, you don't want all these sensations that are happening in the body. You don't want that, because it's not helpful right now. Right? If you're discerning because you're interacting with a person and you're helping them to perceive perhaps their limitations or their inability to understand something that is going on, that's different. But really and truly, when you're hearing these pieces of information that are coming off the internet, or people are talking, and there's just a lot of interaction going on about particular subjects that are already charged, you want to just use these. All right? Just eyes and ears. That's it. So you are a head walking around with just, special spot here that is the aura is going to let you connect in there. So don't worry about it, but just know that as you disidentify with this physical body, at some point it's going to be very useful. You don't want to disidentify so that you don't take good care of yourself or eat the right food. We're not talking about that. We're talking about when you're interacting with those that are especially spitting out information that you can tell from the beginning that this is loaded information, or it's old information, or it's impactful information. You want to just use these eyes and these ears and let the rest of your body go on vacation. And you will find that you get much more clarity if that's all it is. So just practice for a moment. Listen to what we are saying, and then just focus on the eyes and the ears. And perhaps even with your ears, you're going to hear the frequency that we ride on. All right? We ride to you through the ethers. All right? We use the voice box of this person, but we end up sending to you not an interpretation of truth, but truth from the core of the beingness of reality that is beyond third dimension. All right? So we're not saying we come from absolute truth to talk to you. We come from the perspectives that are available to us to use to you because you're in that physical body. Right? So when you recognize, it's like, well, I am in a physical body, but I perceive everything because I'm in the physical body, or am I perceiving it because I am trying to get out of this body? You know, what is happening? And actually, that's the truth. When it is you're receiving information from the outer world, you are leaping out of your body to interact, to interconnect with that information. Right? And that information is just that. It's not truth, it's information. But the perspective that you come from with your ability to be in the body, hear, see, whatever, not react emotionally, is going to give to you another, or sixth sense you've heard for a long time. What is the sixth sense? It is all of you. The whole aura, the whole energy body, it is all of you, perceiving what is being projected to you, and you're able to read it without your eyes and ears. Right? You're able to perceive what you're receiving with more clarity. Right? So coming away from thinking you have to be there for everyone and help them to understand and to know the truth and to be free of the limitations that they have had, it's not the truth. The truth being that you are one with the Creator, and that's your job. Your job is to wake up to that. And when you do that, you send in vibration into your world as more people are able to feel that vibration, not predict it and not really grasp it or understand it, but be within that vibration. Everyone, like the fish in the bowl, in the water in the bowl, is immersed. Right, in third dimensional qualities, in third dimensional information, in third dimensional vibration. But when you practice, when you practice and pull yourself out of that, you alter the vibration of the existence within which you find yourself now. All right? And what you're wanting to do is keep practicing lifting yourself so that every time you are aware, you are not sinking down into your old emotionality. The poor heart in the human body, it has had many, many experiences, and it's a wonder it makes it as many years as it does for a lot of people. People that take good care of themselves and they exercise, they have vitamins, they're taking care of, and still their heart is giving them information that says, this is not the healthiest existence that you could possibly have. Where is that coming from? It's coming from their emotionality. It's coming from their places of feeling limited. It's coming from their places of feeling entrapped. All right. So this is something that's going to be evident pretty soon. That although you haven't probably had an experience of it or been very conscious of it, but the sense that when you have a great spirit, and you've meditated and you come back in and there you are, and I'm in my body. Here I am, I'm in my body. There is absolutely a sense of separation from all there is. Right? So there it becomes a feeling of being engulfed, entrapped, immersed in a medium, a physicality that it doesn't give to you the sense of your truth, your wholeness, your way of being. And wholeness and the learning about wholeness brings you into a greater understanding of the universe, yes, but it brings you into greater alignment with yourself. Right? And yourself is the universe. So that's the job here. Going out of the body, right? Understanding, yes, you have the body. It is a preceptor. It's done a really good job. It has a heart within it, and that heart has had an endurance trial for sure. Your heart changes beat. People think that the good thing when they go to the doctor and they read that heart and it's going up and down and even little spikes, that this is good. Absolutely not. Your heart is meant to go with the rhythm, the harmonics of the universe. All right. So there's cascading that goes in between each peak. There are cascades, and when that's perceived and it seems to be out of the normal, then there could even be those that are in a position of being a physician, doctor, that think they need to change that. And when they do that, they're it's like taking prednisone for a people's dysfunction, where the histamines are working to tell the body that there is something that needs to come out of here and something that needs to go, and the true that's not the right word, and the process of treating that is to take away the symptom. All right, so you don't want to be taking away the symptoms. Your body can be a wreck. We don't care about that. Any little pressure, any little side effect you have in your body, don't worry about it. Remember that your job here is to wake up. And you can think you're awake, but you're not unless you really feel like you are one with the entire universe. All right, that's awake. The other is a process of awakening. So to expect people to be awake is a little presumptuous. We're going to the question now. Right? It's a little presumptuous to expect people to be awake. They can only come into a more awakened state than they were before. Unless, of course, some very special beings, they have an illumination experience and then enlightenment happens and the touch of the guru, etc. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about your everyday people and how it is that they are working with their own consciousness, their best understanding, and they are subject to the reality of the third dimension and have to find a process where they will be able to enter into that process to assist them to awaken. Right, so if you go down the wrong corridor, you think you're going to the grocery and you head on another street and go in the opposite direction, you're not going to get where you're going unless you go all the way around the globe, but that's silly. So energetically, when you're exercising your right to be here, and we use right in a couple different ways there, you understand that it's like, all right, I am perceiving, but the wholeness of who I am, which I've heard about, which people tell me about, which I kind of understand, it's elusive unless I am in deep meditation. All right, so what is deep meditation but a pathway to the silence, to the entirety of your beingness? That's all you're doing, is going straight into self to be awake to the truth of your being. All right, the truth of your being, which is not encased in anything. Right? So these things are going to make themselves, they are self-evident when you discover them. But for the most part, to be awake and alive on this planet right now is a very intricate procedure. It has so many different details and different influences because a person has been using their intellect, all right, not necessarily their intelligence, but their intellect, to tune into what it is that their inner core is attracted to at the moment, all right? So the inner core is not necessarily the truth of your being, and the inner core, in order to come into awakened interaction with the world around you, it needs its ego, all right? So you need your ego. You need your ego to decide and decipher what's different than this, what's different than that, but that's only on the physical plane. That's only maneuvering. That's the way in which you get from point A to point B. You get your desires met. You fill your life with what you believe is the truth of what you need. So changing all that is in process, right? So understanding that where we guide you to, or pointing the finger or pointing the heart to, is that place inside of you that is untouched by the emotions that have been shared with you by your teachers and your parents, etc., or the emotions that you brought with you, why you were coming onto the planet. Right? So emotions are useful in a lot of different ways, but when you're moving in this direction to true awakened state, then the emotions need to be left aside. Left aside. Very difficult, but not impossible. All right? So you get the perception. And there are so many different yoga paths, and the very difficult yoga paths are the one that go through the intellect, because people have to get through the intellect to get to the pure truth. The ones that are like karma yoga and the yogas of the body, hatha yoga, the energies, these are easier, because there is a focus that it takes you automatically to a pathway that the body intelligence is already established in. So the body intelligence gets messed up by the emotions. So you want to get back to pure body intelligence. You can do it by just looking at your finger and taking your finger back and forth to your eyes, pure body intelligence. Because what you've decided is you're going to focus on this finger, and your eyes are doing exactly what you've asked. So intention in the body. Your body always does what you ask it to do. You just have to be clear. When you ask your body to step aside, because I need to be clear about this, you don't want to be thinking about your armpits and, go take a shower, etc., make this body all clean. No. You want the perception that is right here to focus like a laser on what is being projected in your direction or what you're seeking. Right? So these things we say.